This video is about our Evolve range of prefabricated vertical sliders, and I'll be talking you through the steps we recommend to install a vertical slider safely and correctly. I'll also talk you through two of the most common queries we get in our aftercare team: how to deglaze a vertical slider and how to remove a sash. Start by measuring the width and height of the aperture that the window will be fitted into, along with the diagonals to make sure the aperture is square. Next, measure the width and height of the new window to ensure it is the correct size. Vertical sliders must be stored upright and not horizontally, as this can cause the frame to bow. On larger frames, there may be some barrelling when the frame is stood upright before installation, but this is normal and will be corrected once the frame has been installed. Measure and mark 150mm from each of the corners as a guide to fixing the cleats. The gap between two fixings should not be more than 600mm, so you may need to fit additional cleats if required. To attach a cleat, place it onto the back edge of the window for retrofits into plaster and screw into the frame itself. For new builds, it can be placed in the middle and tapped in with a rubber mallet. For both methods, we recommend fixing the cleat in place with a screw to secure it. We recommend fixing cleats to the frame with 20mm self-drilling screws. If you are using screws longer than this, you may cause damage to the frame. For the vertical slider used in this video, we have used 8 fixing cleats, 2 across the top and 3 on each side of the frame. Before fitting the window, the end cap should be fitted to the end of the sills using super glue. These can be tapped into place with a rubber mallet. Place packers onto the surface of the aperture and check that the surface is level before fitting the window. If you prefer, you can sit the window on a mortar bed instead of packers. You can now lift the frame into the aperture. For this part, you may find using 2 people is easier, particularly as the frames can be heavier than they look. Once you have checked that the window is square and level, you can start drilling the cleats into place. When screwing in the centre cleats, be careful not to screw them in too far, as this will open up the gap between the sash and the frame. To prevent this, we recommend putting side packers in place before drilling. There are lots of different size packers readily available, and you may find a combination of 2 works best for your fitting. We do not recommend using expanding foam for installing vertical sliders. However, if you are using expanding foam, then it is important that you place a packer between the sash and the frame and leave it there until the foam has set, to help prevent the frame from bowing. The expanding foam can then be applied as normal. To add the pole eye handles to the window, you will need to measure out and drill holes for the handles before screwing in place. It is up to you where you want the handles to be placed, but we recommend the top of the upper sash in line with the prefixed handles at the bottom. Once the vertical slider has been installed, it will just need to be tidied up and sealed. Before deglazing a vertical slider, make sure the window is locked in place. The beads can now be removed one at a time, starting with the one at the top. We have used a Don Carlos knife and a palette knife, but most flat-headed tools will work. Take note of which bead goes where when removing them, to make sure you can replace them in the correct place. Once the beads have been removed, you can carefully remove the glass. You may find using a palette knife helps to release the glass, as shown here. Start by slightly pulling up the sash before tilting it towards you. We recommend using a ratchet or a small drill to unscrew the tilt arms, followed by the tilt restrictors. Make sure that the restrictors have been pushed back so they don't catch as you remove the sash. Gently tilt the sash down until it is horizontal, and then carefully slide it out. If the sash is heavy, we recommend using 2 people to lift it out to avoid any damage or injury. When the tilt arm is horizontal, it is locked. If you tilt it back up to a vertical position, it will be able to slide up and down. It's important to make sure the spring doesn't shoot back up, so we recommend always keeping the arm in the horizontal position while the sash is being changed. To put the new sash in place, slide it back onto the arms. Screw back in place and carefully tilt back up. Screw the tilt restrictors back in and then the sash can be closed as normal.